Again, welcome to Central Middle School. As I said in the cafeteria, we are so happy to be back. This is, whoa, if you have a red on, find a seat.
Or a mask with teeth.
Or Super Mario. Luigi. We're just thrilled to have you guys here. Again, this is where we belong, this is where you belong, and we're really happy to have you here. We are going to make the absolute best of this for students that are home, and students that are remote in Group A and B, and students that are remote all the time. We are going to make the absolute best of this. Those students that are home and those students that are remote, we will try to have some type of an orientation for them so that they can be familiar with Central, so that when we do finally open, they'll have an understanding of how Central operates and how things go. And it's also very important that they get to know their teachers the same way that you get the opportunity today. So we will have some type of orientation for remote students at some point, okay? Again, what we're going to do in here is just talk a little bit about guidelines, things that we expect to happen while you're here at Central. But before I do that, I want to introduce someone who's very important, the principal of our school, Mr. Gray.
What's up, guys? Good morning. Everybody is definitely not terribly enthusiastic this morning, and I understand that. It's been a long time since we've been back in our routine. Well, I just want to take a minute to introduce myself to you this morning. I'm Mr. Gray. I'm the principal here. I have a long history at Central Middle School and in Parsippany. I went to Northvale, so when Mr. Flanagan said take a seat, if you went to Northvale, I could have taken a seat then. When he said if you weren't born in this country, I could have taken a seat then. I was born in Ireland. I moved to America when I was 11. So I started at Northvale. I came through Central Middle School when it was Central Junior High School, and it was 7th and 8th grade here then. I moved on to Parsippany High School. I graduated from there in '87, so if you want to figure out how old I am, you could do the math, or at least close to it. And I'll be a year older tomorrow, so not looking forward to that either. Went to Parsippany High School, went to Rutgers University, came back out. I was fortunate enough to come back to Central Middle School as a teacher. And I was a teacher here for 11 years. I was an English teacher. I was a wrestling coach for 8 of those years. I became an assistant principal. I had the good fortune to work on the other side of town at Eastlake Elementary School for 9 years, which I loved. But then probably the happiest moment for me was when I got the opportunity to come back home to Central in this capacity as principal. I don't necessarily rank people here. I'm not a big fan of bossy people. I just like being part of the team, being part of the family. That's the way we approach things. There's a lot of people like myself who've been part of this community for a long time. Mr. Flanagan on the other side of town had 3 students, 3 children who went through the Brooklawn and the Hills. Mrs. Appel, who was here before, I actually went to high school with. I went to high school with Mrs. Raimondo, who you'll meet at some point in time in some way, shape, or form. So we have a really strong connection to this community, and it means more to me and to us than just a job or just a school. There's only one message I really want to kind of leave you with this morning. Number one, I've been where you've been, literally been at an orientation program here myself. And also, obviously, have been going through the same things outside in the real world that you have over the last few months. We've done a lot over the summer, as you can see, to make the school as safe as we possibly can. We're making sure that we're keeping our distance, making sure that we've got limited and numbers of people that we can handle safely in the building. So all of these things are in place, and all of these things are effective if and only if we have your cooperation. So there's just a couple of things that I want to leave you with that are super important, and you've heard them already a few times. And that's number one, keeping our mask on. It's super important. The teachers are going to do the best they can to give you breaks and to get you outside so you can get a break from your masks. But it's really important that they stay on at all times for you, and you also have a responsibility to the folks around you. Social distancing. I know it's tough. It's tough for adults, and I know it's tough for middle school kids. But again, It's something that you owe yourself and something that you owe the people around you in terms of following those rules. And those are the behaviors that you can control. These were all the things that we were able to control before anybody showed up. But now that everybody's here, it's so very important that those behaviors, wearing masks, keeping your distance, washing your hands, following the rules for the bathrooms, all of those sorts of things, if we don't cooperate, then all of those things kind of don't help our cause. So I don't want to go on and lecture you about a million things right now. You're going to hear some important stuff from the handbook, and you certainly heard some stuff with Mr. Taka and that presentation about what we did over the summer and how we kind of prepared the school. But the bottom line is, we're here, and that is the most important part, and that makes us tremendously happy. And we're going to do our very, very best to make this the best experience we can for you. And we sincerely hope that you are going to give us that back by really adhering to those super important rules that are going to keep us all healthy. Okay, so welcome, guys. We're thrilled you're here. We're looking forward to spending a great 3 years with you as we move forward, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Obviously, as a school principal or assistant principal, we like to think that we are an integral part of the school. But the person that you're going to rely on probably the most over the next 3 years is your sixth grade counselor. And you're very, very fortunate to have Mrs. Sutherland as your sixth grade counselor. Whether you're home and you're remote or whether you're here in school, she is there for you, okay? She's an email away. Obviously, the office is right here at Central, but if you're having any issues, for the most part, you can see any of us, but you can see Mrs. Sutherland, and she's going to be the person who knows you the best by the time you're done with 8th grade, okay? So it's my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Sutherland. Deafening applause, I heard right there. Deafening.
Yeah. All right. Hi, guys. As Mr. Flanagan said, I am Mrs. Sutherland. I will be your school counselor for 3 years. So I'm really lucky, as Mr. Flanagan already pointed out, that I'm going to get to know you and your families really well. I'm sure many of you remember Mr. Radiotis, Mr. Brighton, Miss Brewer, Miss Clayton, or Miss Larger. Do you guys remember them?
Yes.
Yes? Yes? Okay, so that's me. That's me here. I am here to help you with everything and anything that I can. You might be having a bad day because you wore mismatching socks and you're highly embarrassed and your friends are laughing about it and you need somewhere to go talk to about it and kind of get a break. You can come find me. You might be having a bad day because you got in a fight with your parents or something like that and you want a place just to take a breath, someone to talk to. That's me. If you want to have help with time management or organization, I can help you with that. Anything like that, any scheduling things, I just want to help you guys get through middle school, and whatever I can do to help you do that, I want to help you. So please come find me. My office is right across from the cafeteria, one door down from the nurse's office. I'm sure you guys have walked by it already a couple times. You can find me there, and as Mr. Flanagan said, if you're home and you need help and you're confused about how the remote thing is going to work, you can email me, and I am just an email away, and I can get back to you, and I will be there for you. So I look forward to getting to know you guys and having you for 3 years, and it's going to be fun. You're going to love it here. We have a great place, okay? Great school.
Thank you, Mrs. Sutherland. Another deafening applause. There you go. Okay. Let me get hooked up here. So, generally what we do the first couple days of school is we have grade level assemblies. But because we split the orientation in half today, we're going to use this time to kind of go over what we would go over during our grade level assemblies. So, this is a student handbook. It's on the Central webpage. And we prefer that students go through this with their parents. Students go through this with their parents, and that way you have an adult to kind of, if there's any questions, and then you just check off and you acknowledge that you've reviewed the student handbook. I'm just going to kind of go through some everyday stuff that we deal with. Some everyday stuff that we deal with that relates to the student handbook, okay? And I noticed, what's your name? I'm sorry? Andy has a planner. Andy, just stand up and hold up your planner, okay? So some of you may have gotten a planner. Thank you, Andy. Some of you may have gotten a planner in your first period class. If you didn't get it today, you'll definitely get it tomorrow, okay? It's a great, great habit to develop, all right? How many of you already use some type of a planner already? Okay? Now is the time, okay? You just want to develop good habits, good organizational skills. Use your planner to write down assignments, to write down stuff that's going on in school, to write down stuff that goes on outside of school, so that you can really, really keep track of what's going on in your life. Okay? As you get older, and as things kind of get back to more normal, you'll have more and more things going on in your life. And you'll want to be in a good habit of writing things down. So you'll get your agenda or your planner tomorrow, and we hope that you take advantage of it and you use it, okay? I'm going to go through alphabetically. Attendance, whether you're home and you're remote, in cohort A, cohort B, or remote all the time, your attendance is mandatory. You need to log on at your regular class time unless your teacher is directing you to do otherwise. Okay? So if you have English first period, which is 8 o'clock in the morning, you need to be on at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay? And that we prefer that it's you and not an icon. All right? I think your teachers are going to prefer and ask that it's you and not an icon. There's going to be all kinds of different modes of delivering the content. Some teachers are going to record lessons that you'll be able to access from Google Classroom. Some teachers are going to invite you and you'll be live virtually. It's going to be different on different days, just like school is. It's different all the time. Sometimes a teacher will give you an assignment that may take 2 days, and she'll say, we don't have to check in tomorrow during third period. You're just going to work on this. So any stuff like that, you need to make sure that you're taking responsible for and you attend. You need to make sure that you're attending. Okay? Who has a regular backpack? What's your name? Audrey? Audrey, stand up, please. Audrey's like, why is he doing this to me? That's a backpack. Hold up your backpack. Okay, that's a good backpack. That's a cool backpack. Thank you. That's like a regular size backpack. That's fine. But sometimes, like by January, February, these backpacks are like gigantic. They're stuffed with books, they're stuffed with clothes, they're stuffed with shoes, all kinds of stuff, and you can't fit it in your locker. We don't want that, okay? We want small backpacks, string bags, or a backpack, a regular sized backpack that's not overstuffed. Plus, again, if and when everybody's back in school, we don't want to have backpacks clogging up the aisles in classrooms. We don't want backpacks in the hallways. So we encourage you to use a backpack or a string bag, something to carry your stuff around in, but make sure that it's not like 50,000 pounds, okay? Bathroom use. Again, it's a little bit different for those students that are at school. While you're here at Central, we're going to only allow 2 students at a time in the student bathrooms. And the student bathrooms are right across from the cafeteria. And on the 3rd floor, you'll see them. The boys is more towards the middle, the girls is towards the end. There's signs on the doors that say occupied and available. So if you need to use the restroom, you write in your planner, restroom, the date, the restroom, and the time. You bring it up, you ask your teacher, you bring it up to the teacher, she initials it, and then you're allowed to go use the restroom. If you get to the restroom and both signs say occupied, then you wait outside. Okay? When the student comes out, they switch the sign to available, you switch the sign back to occupied, and then you can go in. And again, I would assume, the same sanitary habits, personal hygiene that you followed your entire life, you're going to continue to follow. Make sure that you're washing your hands and that you're doing the right thing with regard to personal hygiene. Okay? Any questions as we go along, feel free. Cell phones, the rule is when you walk through the doors into Central, you're not on your phone. Okay? It's in your bag, it's in your pocket, it's off. We're not on our phones when we get to school. Okay? We are not walking around the hallway on our phone, listening to whatever. We're just not using cell phones. You definitely are not using your cell phone in the restroom. And you're definitely not texting or on whatever while you're in class. Okay? We're not on our cell phones. Now, because students are virtual and we have remote learners, teachers may want to use some type of technology in the classroom, and they'll give you permission to take out your phones if you have a phone. Okay? So those are the only times that you would need to use your phone. If you're not feeling well or you forgot something, you don't sneak off into the restroom or go somewhere and call your parents. You come down to the office and do it the old-fashioned way. We have one of those, it's a box with numbers on it and a cord. It's called a phone. You use that phone. Or we could just say, yes, call your parents. You can use your own cell phone. Okay? Any questions? How many of you take a bus? Raise your hand. All right? Very cool. So the buses always pick up and drop off right out here. Okay? When you're dismissed at 10:15 today, you're going to have to know your bus number. And it's going to be on the door. It's going to be on the window closest to the door, which you know from elementary school. The buses usually try to line up in the exact same spot every single day. But sometimes they get delayed, sometimes they don't. We try to hold the buses to make sure that every single student gets on their bus. So look for the number in the window, and that's the bus that you get on. Today was probably very, very cool because when you got on your bus, there's probably only 3 or 4 students. Well, tomorrow there's going to be 3 times that. So, again, not a lot of students. I looked at the bus routes, and there's only 12, 11 students on a 50-passenger bus. So you can properly social distance on the bus. There's going to be assigned seats on the bus, and you really need to stick to that. Okay? Again, because we're trying to enforce social distancing. If there's any issues with the buses, okay, if it happens in the morning, you come see one of us right away. Mr. Mr. Totka, myself, Mr. Gray, Mrs. Sutherland, your teacher. Any help you need with the bus, you come see us. If it happens in the afternoon, you certainly tell your parents, and they can call us, they can email us, and we'll try to take care of it. Okay? Did you have a question? You got to yell. Okay? So that's a perfect example of a problem with a bus. Okay? And I'm glad you brought that up. So sometimes maybe the bus is coming too early and you're not out there yet. Maybe the bus is coming too late and you're like, this bus isn't coming, so you leave. Or the bus doesn't stop exactly where you say it's supposed to. Okay? So just see me before we're done. But that type of stuff... That type of stuff, just let us know, and we simply call transportation. We're like, oh, the bus is supposed to stop at Knoll Road and DeFrac, and it's not stopping there, and we'll get an explanation, and maybe you're at the wrong spot, or the bus is going to the wrong spot, and we'll figure that out for you. Another question, really loud. You just got to ride, okay? Yeah, again, it's just like it's new for you guys coming to school today. The bus drivers haven't done this since March, and they may have new bus drivers. Bus drivers don't always live in Parsippany, so they may not know the area, but it takes them, a couple of days to really get into a routine, and hopefully the bus situation will get straightened out, all right? We have great group at transportation. And we can call them, we can explain things to them, and they try to take care of it right away. So let us know, okay? Let us know, and we'll take care of that for you. What else? Did we collect paperwork for the nurse? Does anybody have any paperwork for the nurse? As I go through and I see health information, physical forms. Did we do that already this morning? Did we ask? Do you have paperwork for the nurse? No? Okay. Lockers. Okay. You could pick that up. That's fine. Generally what happens the first couple days of school is we give out lockers. And as a sixth grader, you get a lock because the PTA and the PTSA in the elementary schools, they buy locks and they give them to the sixth graders. So you'll get a lock and a locker. But what we're going to do is we're going to wait. So today is sixth grade orientation. Tomorrow is cohort A. Then it's cohort B. Then we have a week of cohort A, 4 days, and then 4 days of cohort B. We're going to reassess the locker situation as we get through the first 2 rotations. Okay? And then when we see that things are going well, then we'll assign lockers. For sixth graders, your locker is right near your homeroom. So depending on who your homeroom teacher is, that row of lockers will be all the kids in your homeroom. All right? So it's easy for you in the morning to go from here to your locker to homeroom. It's right next to right there in the same hallway. Okay? You can go to your locker anytime throughout the day, but we don't want you to be late to class and say, oh, I was at my locker. All right? If it's easy for you to go to your locker in between a certain class because they're close by or it's on the way, then certainly we encourage you to use your lockers. But we don't want it to become, I'm going to my locker every single period, and it becomes an issue where you're late to class. All right? And again, those are all things that we'll work with you on. Okay? I'm not sure if we spoke to you about the media center. We have a wonderful media specialist. Her name is Mrs. Field. And I'm sure that as you went down to your math class or by your phys ed class or your computers class, you may have passed the media center, but you'll have an opportunity to go into the media center and take out books and things like that. Mrs. Field is going to have a good program in place where remote students and in-school students can take out books because we certainly want to continue and keep that going. Student council, okay, or student activities is run by Miss Albersays. I think she spoke to you earlier, or she'll speak to you in the cafeteria when we're done here. So basically what happens is we have homeroom reps. So you can run to be your homeroom rep. And we'll have a cohort A and a cohort B and a remote homeroom rep. And those students will go to the student council meetings. Those students will go to the student council meetings. Those students will report back to the classrooms of things that are going on with regard to student activities. Excuse me for 1 second. Mr. Taka, we're ready when you are, okay?
All right, I'm going to start dismissing the kids out there. See you outside.
Okay. Clubs. There's lots and lots of clubs. There's lots and lots of activities. You'll hear about stuff like that in announcements and stuff that goes out. All of the announcements that we make during the school day will also be available to students remotely and virtually for cohort A, cohort B, and remote students. Okay? Again, we're really, really thrilled that you're here. It's going to be a great school year. All right? Regardless of whether we're at Central or home, it's going to be a great, great school year.